Richard from NetEase. We are online media. We know you are also Tolkien fans, and we would like to know what's Thorin Oakenshield like in your head when you first read this book.
Well, I first read the book when I was 7 years old. So it was interesting to come back to him as a 40-year-old man and remember how I felt about him and the novel as a child. And the idea of him hadn't really changed very much. I still saw him as a warrior, as a flawed hero, and as somebody that was treading a difficult, dangerous path towards redemption.
And we know in the movie, Thorin's relationship with his dwarf companions become a bit intense at the beginning, but he still trusted Bilbo. And so, what do you think about this? Why?
He doesn't trust Bilbo. Yeah, I mean, you know, one of the most difficult parts of Thorin's career, if you would call it that, is that he could only rally 12 dwarves to go on a quest to reclaim a homeland. That's not very many people to go effectively to war. And to bring the Hobbit along with him on the journey is risky. It could be a liability. So I think he is very mistrustful of Bilbo Baggins. And part of Thorin's evolution is that he learns to trust this small being, and ultimately it changes his, you know, the course of his life.
So, if not from Thorin's point of view, who do you think should be responsible for this war, almost between war elves, dwarves, and men?
Well, that's what's so fascinating about this story, is that in a way every character is liable to for the potential outbreak of war. It's Thorin that has his foot firmly on the brake, and when he takes his foot off the brake, war breaks out. And it, you know, in a way, he asks for war because he is consumed by greed and anger at the elves and at men for betraying him and turning their backs on him. So he's wrought with stubbornness, which is what causes the war.
So if we assume there is another ending of this film, the Thorin Oakenshield become a king, so which kind of king do you think she will be?
Well, I feel like, you know, one of the interesting things that happens at the very end when Thorin is in his final exchange with Bilbo is the understanding of what he's done and what the point that he's come to. He does see the end of the Battle of the Five Armies. He does witness effectively the beginnings of a peaceful resolution with the enemy destroyed. So I suspect, or I would hope, that as a king he would be someone that had learnt from his mistakes.
So when the shootings end, how do you feel? Any sorrow or something?
It's always difficult to leave a character that you've played for so long, and I'm still talking about him now, 4 years later, but he's been around in my head since I was 7 years old. So the character has longevity within me, but to say goodbye to these films is very difficult.
How many times did you watch this movie?
Of all the three, I've watched this one the most, and I've seen it 3 times. And I think I probably will see it again, but I'd like to see it on the big screen in 3D with the great sound system. It's a phenomenal kind of sensory, immersive theatrical experience, which is exactly what Peter Jackson is trying to achieve.
So how do you think about your role? If you give him a score, will be A, B, C?
I'm sorry, could you repeat that?
就是我想跟他说一下评分的话。
How do you score your role? Like A, B, C, D?
A score?
Yeah, like a comment on your role, like your score. Like 100 out of 100.
Oh, I see. Do you mean what I achieved? I couldn't possibly score the character. I couldn't. Sorry.
So any sentences that you particularly hope to add it to the extended version about the Thorns?
Yes, I think there are. I mean, I feel very lucky that the majority of the work that I did made it into the final cut of the film. There's very little that's missing. There is a key scene quite close to the end, which Tolkien wrote, which isn't in the final movie. Without revealing too much, it's a significant scene, and it's a noble ceremony. So I'm looking forward to seeing that.
Is there any your fun art inspired by Thorin Armitage?
Yeah, lots of it, and it's incredible to see how Tolkien, how Peter, how Weta and Richard Taylor have inspired a whole, generation of artists to create and evolve the work. And I think it's, I'm really proud that people paint this character.
We heard that they sung the Lonely Mountain song yesterday.
At the airport.
Yeah, at the airport.
Yes. Yeah.
You have a lot of fans, right?
Yeah, and a really lovely song as well. 3 beautiful songs actually that Fran wrote the lyrics to and assisted with the artist to create 3 beautiful songs to match the 3 films.
So, any directors or actors that you most want to work with?
I'm a big fan of David Fincher actually, and so he's somebody that I admire greatly. I'm also a big fan of Paul Thomas Anderson, so looking out for his kind of work.
So have you seen Fincher's Gone Girl?
Yes, I have, and Dragon Tattoo is also one of my favourite films. Yeah,
Do you like it?
it's incredible. I think his visual storytelling is very dark and extraordinary and angular and weird and anarchic.
And we know this is your first time come to China?
It is my very first time.
Yeah, how did you feel?
It's amazing. It's a very kind of vibrant, beautiful place. I really enjoyed my visit today to the park, and I'm hoping to eat some great food.
And then you will go to the Great Wall?
Yeah, I think I've got time on my final day to go and visit the Great Wall. It will be brief, but I can't leave China without seeing the Great Wall.
So, we said, 不到长城最好汉. If we never get to the Great Wall, you're not a really tough man.
If I don't,
So, yeah.
yeah, I will.
Okay. Then any plan? Okay. Any new plan next?
Yes, I'm actually already starting work on a TV show called Hannibal, which is an American show based on a Thomas Harris novel, and I'm playing a character called Francis Dolarhyde, who is a serial killer.
Okay. Thank you.
Thank you. Nice to meet you.